All right. Oh, Tommy's got a beer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3, season 2 of the NBA SA show. What's up?
Tommy must save his
Gentlemen,
beers now because he's going to have to give them all away soon.
You strongholds,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Strongholds.
Yeah.
Early days. Early days.
Cheers, boys, to the first 2 weeks of NBA. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm excited.
Cheers to focal sleep because I'm up every morning at the crack of dawn.
I'm
We know
less
you.
productive at work. A lot less productive.
Yeah, I'm an avid believer of subscribing to NBA.com. So I don't have to wake up early in the morning. I just stay off WhatsApp, stay off Facebook, stay off Instagram, and then I can watch the game.
With your wife, how you manage that?
Like, luckily, she doesn't have NBA on her feed.
Really? Why haven't you liked
Anyway. All right, let's get straight into it. The first thing I want to talk about, gentlemen, is Luka Doncic. He just looks like he's got a different type of swag to him. I'm referring to the game against Phoenix. And then more importantly, I'm referring to the second game, which was their first home game. Who did they play in their first home game, Tom?
You're talking about the Memphis game?
Yeah.
Memphis.
I feel like I'm seeing a different Luka this year. And I really want to get your opinion, Tim, who obviously watches a little bit more Dallas basketball than most. But before, Kirk, you reckon you watch more than him?
Kirk doesn't count as most though.
So Kirk, I want you to go first, bro. Am I right? Do I see something different? Is it same old, same old? Give me your thoughts on Luka specifically before we get to Dallas.
So, I do think he's smiling more. It feels like he's figuring things out a bit more, and I think he knows he's got this. I think he knows he's got this. But I do believe that I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. For the Mavericks to win a title, he needs to get some nasty in his game. When he gets knocked down, I don't want to see him whine and bitch. I want to see him get up and just have that fucking poker face that I'm going to fuck you up now. Like, you want to play like it? You want to play like it? We can play like that. And when he gets that team is going to be impossible to stop.
To me?
I think you just didn't watch enough Luka before.
Probably.
That's my one comment. My second comment is I do agree with Kirk. And interestingly, well, I agree with Kirk to a point. He does show those flashes of nasty. It's just not all the time. And sometimes if he's getting hit or he's not getting the calls, then it does come across as him whining. And other times he doesn't do it. Right? And I think that's a consistency thing. And I think that also comes with age. Right? I mean, we just more emotional when we're younger. Right? We know ourselves less. We don't regulate ourselves as well. Right? I do think that the experience that he's playing in Euro and America's playing in international competitions, I think all of that helps. I think it helps the international guys all look good. Right? Larry Markkinen looks like a superstar, right? At this stage, and I think that they've got a little bit of a head start, and they're a little bit more focused when the season starts. I love Kirk's comment around looking happier, because that's. So we're going to segue into the Dallas piece now, right? I think that team needs to figure out a few things. They really need to adjust to types of players that they haven't had in the last 3-4 years. Right? Really, even JaVale McGee, right? But Owens who can run to the rim and catch a lob, and at the same time run outside, and like Christian Wood, they're starting to figure things out proper. That smile on the face, their reaction after he threw the lob, against Memphis.
Yeah.
They looked like they were playing for each other for years. It's everything that Dallas fans wanted from him and Kristaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for this, good. And look, it's early days, but like, you know, when teams show flashes and they look like they're having fun doing it, and maybe they're not winning everything at once, and that's fine, right? But I think we made many predictions. I think many of my predictions are going to be wrong by the end of the season, right? But I don't think the Dallas one will. I think Dallas one's real. They're fucking.
We caught you like this, Mel.
What did I miss?
The South African episode. You were saying, bro?
I don't know what I was saying. Where was I? I said a lot.
Yeah. You were at. They are everything that Dallas fans wanted from Porzingis and Luka.
Oh, and that's the one last point. Like, I made lots of predictions at the beginning of the season, and some of them I think are going to look stupid by the end, right? And although the Mavs are going to have a little bit of a bumpy road, I actually I legitimately believe in what I think they're better this year than they were last. And I think they're going to be tougher further down the line. And when they hit the playoffs, I think they're going to have more options than they've done before. Yeah.
Kirk, Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I picked them going to the finals, didn't I? Or at least making the conference finals. And I still think so. And whether they get through the finals depends on how nasty Luka gets. for me.
Oh, wait. For me,
I'll never. I mean, sorry to cut you. I'll never forget. I mean, we said this when Dirk went on his run, and when LeBron and Wade were making fun of him after, I think it was after game 2 or after game 3, they were sitting on the back of the golf cart and they were making fun of him. And after that, he just went, and now you're going to see now you saw. And it was over.
And same thing with Giannis.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. When did that happen? Did Phoenix make fun of him?
No. But I suppose the nasty comment, the scowl, the almost I play with anger.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I completely agree with your. If you don't have a little bit of vengeance in your game, I think it's hard to go to the summit if you're the best player in the team.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody else must stay calm. You can't have the
yeah. Don't let me get vengeful with you.
Speaking of best player on the team, Damian Lillard has led his team to being the number 1 team in the West. How? We didn't even talk about Portland in our previous episode. We spoke about 9 or 10 teams in the West. We didn't even cover Portland. That's how off the radar they were for the 3 of us. Maybe just to me. Maybe the 2 of you felt a bit different. What is going on? Is it just Dame time? Are we gonna continue like this? Tell me, what do you see, bro? I'm shocked. I really didn't expect it, but I should have known better to doubt Damian Lillard. But give me your thoughts, man. I'd love to know why you believe they can start 4-0 as the best team in the West so far.
I think in fairness to us, the potential concerns that why we didn't spend a lot of time talking about them, because nobody knew how Dame was going to look when he came back. The reports out there was got a bad hip, and nobody knew, well, is that going to be right again ever or not, right? Anthony Simons and him were like the same size, so now you got an undersized backcourt. That shit didn't work with CJ McCollum. What made us think it was going to work now, right? They added Jeremy Grant and Josh Hart, and that sounded cool, but like that's not really gonna excite anybody, right? And Chauncey Billups did an amazing job of taking the team and tanking last year, right? So, like, nobody knew whether they would be decent or not. And so I think, where you have some variables, right? And if any one of them potentially goes wrong, right, then your team's average. Yeah. Whereas every one of these seems to have got right. Right? Looks like Chauncey can coach. It looks like they all believe. Right? Dame came back looking like Dame 2 years ago. Right? Anthony Simons turned into a younger version of CJ McCollum. Right? And the other dudes who were meant to come and play defense, they fucking play defense. Who knew? Yeah? Do I believe that they're going to be a top 4 team in the West? No, I think I'm not convinced that that's going to happen over the long term. Right? Do I think that they could be top 6? I think 5 or 6 is probably the ceiling, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made it if they were playing in the playing rounds. But I think it's cool. I think it's a wonderful story. They look like they're having fun. Like, I'm excited. I love Dame. Yeah. And I think it's nice for Portland.
Yeah.
If Dame gets injured, this could swing completely in the opposite direction, right? Dame gets injured, all of a sudden, tank time.
Yeah, in that sweepstakes, baby, in that sweepstakes.
Pull the trigger. But why not? Long may it last and let it be fun.
Yeah. Kirk, you feel the same?
Yeah, so I guess we weren't sure if Dame was going to be there. I mean, he said he was going to, and after all his comments about Oaks that bail and leave, he can't really leave. He's going to look like a doers if he does. But money talks, and if I wasn't sure if he was going to stick around because there was quite a lot of talk of teams courting him. But as they are now, I suppose they've got a lot to prove. And if you look at the fixtures that they played, it was statement games. So winning those games would say a lot about the intent. Whether it's going to last, I agree with them. Yeah, I don't think it's going to last. But for now, sucker punching these teams that have designs and are pacing themselves to go deep into the playoffs, getting them nice and early and getting a win under the belt against them. It does good. It looks good on your resume, but it's not going to last.
Yeah. Can I maybe make a point, right? Because we're excited about them because it's some real stuff there and they want to win and they're 4-0, right? And they're on top of the league, right? That's cool. And they're top of the Western Conference. Yeah? Do you know the second and third teams in the Western Conference are at the moment? Yeah? The Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs. And I guarantee you they will be at the bottom by the end of the season. So slow your fucking roll. We are 4 games in. Give him a little golfer's clap.
Yes.
So
don't go out buying the Dame vest just yet.
Yeah. So if what you're saying is true, then, and that you can start the season 4-0, and you guys can feel so confidently about a team that sounds like they could tank. On the flip side, you've got the Los Angeles Lakers, bottom of the table, terrible start, losing their first 3 games, one of which was today. Can they turn things around? I believe they can. As long as they have LeBron James and as long as he's got a chip on his shoulder, I think they can do it. I still pick them to make the conference finals. What is going on with Russell Westbrook? I don't know. That's a different conversation. They don't look like they found their synergy yet. They don't look like a team that are threatening. Like, the biggest thing for me was when Nurkic turned his back when Anthony Davis took that 3. That for me was like, this means they really aren't scared of the Lakers. And this is Anthony Davis, right? But I'd still love to believe that you can start 3-0 and still turn around a season completely. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Kirk, I'd love your opinion first, bro, because you look like you want to just rip into me.
I mean, 100% they can turn it around. I mean, it's only 3 games. Like, the same as the as Portland are on a 4-0 run, you can go in a 0-3 run and make the conference final. But the fact that for the past 35 games, LeBron has been playing out of his skin for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And they've gotten nowhere. So your narrative that as long as he's got a chip on his shoulder and he plays, they will win, that hasn't happened yet. So
he can't do it alone, though.
Yeah, of course, exactly. But that's what you're saying, that as long as he's there, they can turn it around. But he's been doing it alone for the past 35 games, and they're on a hiding to note. So we said so in the beginning, and I'll say so again. They're not going to be they'll probably make the play in, but they won't get past the first round of the playoffs.
To me, Kirk is pretty much saying the exact same thing he said 2 weeks ago, sticking to his word. You still feel the same?
So first of all, I just want to address the fact that Nurkic might have more swagger than Luka at this point in time. If the league didn't find him, you'd walk onto the court like this. You'd be like.
Now, when I saw that, I was like, no way.
He's a bad man, firstly, right? Then the difference between, look, we've seen LeBron do it almost by himself, right? Before. He's taken some really cut Cleveland teams right, all the way to the finals. Yeah. But the difference between those teams and these teams, I mean, besides it being in the East, they were at least constructed with dudes that maybe didn't need the ball. They played defense, right? And they could shoot.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. This Lakers team has actually got a bunch of guys who've been at their best with the ball, right? They're not great defenders, and they can't shoot. LeBron's the best shooter on the fucking team. and if you told me, like, what would I look at to potentially go and say, well, I think that they'll turn around because of this. Well, it's not their shooting. It's not really their defense, right? And
well, they can turn their defense up in bursts. But
it's not gonna be enough to like make me want to take my money out and go, they're definitely gonna turn it around. Right? Yeah. It's definitely not Russ, unfortunately, and I love Russ. It makes me sad to watch him play like this. Now, sure. I also think that because Russ is there, he is now the scapegoat for everything. Right? And the problem with that is, if he becomes a scapegoat for everything, it disincentivizes you to go and look for the actual root cause of what's wrong and fix that. Yeah. So weirdly, it stops them from fixing all the other actual problems that they might have.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
And so that's why I don't have a huge amount of faith that they will change it around materially to get to the conference finals like you hope. But I hope that LeBron tries to put them on his back every night and play every night for lots of fantasy points. Because that's really what's important for LeBron this year.
That's all that's important.
That's all that's important. Yeah? That'll be success. That'll be success. Manage your expectations. Yeah. That'll be success.
Yeah. Very, very well said to me. Actually, both of you are coaches. That situation seems so problematic at the Lakers, right? Because it's such a big brand with big stars. If you went in there with your limited knowledge about the inside workings of the Lakers club, what would you do first? To this Lakers club, you know, I mean, it's not talent, right? It's not talent. So what would you do?
I would trade LeBron.
Okay.
If you were about winning titles and not about social media and exposure and hype and marketing, because that's what this Lakers team is all about. It's all about hype and keeping fans appeased and not necessarily happy, but just keeping them
I mean,
okay with giving them entertainment. Yeah. But if you want to win a title, you need to play LeBron.
To me,
I agree. I think so. If you wanted to win, right, you'd probably get the biggest haul for LeBron, right? I suppose you could either have one of two choices, right? If you want to win potentially 2 years' time, you could go and get a whole bunch of assets for LeBron, right? And he's playing well. Whoever potentially close to a title potentially would be willing to do it, right? Maybe, yeah. Alternatively, you finally give in and you hedge your future by getting rid of those 2 picks, right? Those 2 future picks, and then going to get stuff that is actually complementary to the Lakers and their current setup. But at the moment you're keeping your future, right? You're kind of hoping that other people get into trouble, so maybe they'll eventually get desperate, right? And that's okay. But while you do that, you potentially are creating a cesspool, right? And not solving actual issues, right? And so by the time you add people on in Jan next year, it's fucking too late to work things out, right?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna scapegoat everybody again.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there was talk that that Turner and Yield from Pacers were on the block, and that the Lakers were, or that making that move would be a good move for the Lakers. Shipping Westbrook and potentially a one of those picks for those two guys, and that would go a long way in steadying or getting them closer to a playoff berth at least. But it's not gonna turn it around completely.
So I suppose the problem with that is I go, well, Yield can shoot, but he doesn't really play defense, right? Turner can shoot, but how the hell do you play him next to Davis? Yeah. And so, like, I agree with you. I think that
you can have nothing inside. You can have your two bigs bombing threes.
The help defense will be amazing, though. The help defense will be good.
but on a positive note, though, did you see how effective the Lakers look when AD actually stays inside?
Yeah.
When they get him looks close to the rim, he looks like $1 million, bro. He just mustn't fall over when he makes a lap.
That was one of the things that bugged me. Yeah, it's one of the things that bugged me about watching him is, well, watching the first 3 games, is I actually always felt like they were in the game, right? I always felt like they could win. When Anthony Davis plays well, you go, nah, nobody's beating this Lakers team. Nobody. When AD is you don't even need, you just need the rest to pretty much play their role. But when AD is on fire and LeBron does what he does, it's very hard to bet against the Lakers. But exactly like you say, the nigga is one small trip away from another day-to-day 5 games.
He's one layup line away, right? Layup line. Don't warm up. Just don't. Can I ask a question? Why does Kendrick Nunn get so much respect? Like, why does he get the ball so often? Because every time he gets the ball, I just feel... Like, I think it completely ruins everything that they... I get more upset when he gets the ball than when Russ gets the ball. Yeah? At least Russ has like 15 years of making lots of shots.
Yeah.
What's getting that ever do?
I don't think he did anything.
Is I think his girlfriend. Why is he even still playing?
We'll have none of that.
Tell me more, Tim. Tell me more.
I've got nothing to say.
I've got nothing. Did he just say, I got nothing to say? Okay. Listen, moving on. One of the topics we spoke about in the week was teams that people love to hate, right? And I brought up Phoenix, and I thought, I guess in my opinion and what I follow on social media, it always feels like nobody likes Phoenix. It always feels like people are betting against them, but again, maybe just my thoughts. But I felt I guess not in, what's the word I'm looking for, man? I felt in
Reflection.
Okay, this is gonna be, yes. I'm gonna edit that out.
Okay, let me pick my beer up again.
Again.
Yeah. No. But so upon reflection, thinking about Phoenix and everybody not liking him, Timmy, you brought up that Memphis, people get the same vibe from Memphis. I have brought up Golden State in the past. And then another team, I think, Kirk, you brought up was the Timberwolves. And if I think on the East, I get the same feeling from the New York Knicks. I get the vibe that nobody wants the Knicks to ever win. And then, of course, the Celtics traditionally have always been hated. But tonight, I really want to focus on, is my theory right? Do people not like Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, and Timberwolves as much as other brands like the Lakers? The Lakers can play terrible, and people still love them, right? Give me your thoughts, fellas. Am I in my own world here? Is social media painting a different picture for me? And how do you feel about those teams? Kirk, you go first, bro. Give me your thoughts first on the love-hate relationship with Phoenix.
Oh, Tim, you go first, Tim, because you really want
Okay.
to say something.
Well, thank you, Kirk. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We didn't get my subtle. Pick me. Pick me.
That's the teacher in him, bro. That's the teacher in him.
Yeah. Try to teach him to wait.
I'm like one of those Owens where they say, we on the Jumbotron, right? Who's gonna dance the craziest dance? My top is off and I'm going. And they keep on flashing past me. Just not me. Not this guy. Nobody wants to see that. Before we get started in the proper conversation, I probably, as you were talking, I realized there are probably two types of teams which people traditionally love to hate, right? Or love to root against, right? And you mentioned teams that were really good, right? And so people like the underdog. So it's easy to then support whoever is going to play against them, right? And so that in that vein, right, you mentioned Phoenix and Golden State, right? Then there are a couple of other types of teams, right, that potentially haven't developed the class in winning, right? Or I suppose the way that they play is when they beat you, they fucking tell you about it, right? They're not nice when they win, yeah? And that, I think, of the other two teams that you mentioned is Memphis and the Timberwolves, right? They haven't won shit yet, but they came out and they talked lots of big games, and they told everybody, even though you're winning, I'm not afraid of you, right? I mean, remember when Memphis played the Lakers, right? And they were talking smack, right, with LeBron.
From the first quarter.
From the first quarter. We are not afraid, right? And so sometimes it'll win you some fans, right? But potentially other teams don't want to play against you. Right? Other teams aren't accepting that. Yeah. And then so I suspect that that's what media probably drives a lot of narrative around teams that talk a lot of shit. Minnesota Grizzlies, right? And then other fans will drive a lot of social media around just supporting the underdog. And so any team that's doing really well, I'm like, well, fuck that team. Yeah. The Golden State Warriors. Well, they played more than everybody else. Yeah. Phoenix Suns. Yeah? They won 60 games. But they can't win the playoffs. Yeah. And it's an easy thing, and I think it spreads from different places.
Kirk?
I think I slightly disagree with it. I think it's more to do with the traditional big markets. So you've got your it's like in football where you've got your very popular football teams, and you get bandwagoners that they don't know much about the sport, but they associate themselves with those teams because they're the big team. So everybody knows LeBron James. Everybody knew Kobe's Lakers was a team that just fucking irked me. I don't know, like because Kobe irked me. As like, I suppose the face of the team also plays a big role in that.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, I think it's a matter of traditional big markets, because they've got a massive fan base. You will see more of the pro big market conversations come up in your social media, because it's just more of those people around. So you'll see more positive comments towards the big market teams. Another opinion I have is with regard to the Suns in particular. The Suns, and I think Portland falls into this category as well, which is why we don't talk about Portland. Who else falls into this category? Miami, potentially. It's teams that have gotten close. So, like in the case of Phoenix, they almost made it. So we expect them. So now, the analogy I made was, it's like when you play a game. So you finish most of the game, you get to the boss level, and the boss moves you, and I'm like, fuck it. Now I must go through all of this again to get to the boss level again. And everybody knows, you can get to the boss level. So this stage is expected. So you're supposed to get through the regular season. You're supposed to finish top 4. You're supposed to make it to the conference finals. So whenever you achieve something, people are like, yeah, but you're supposed to do that. You know? So until you get to the boss level that fucked you up the last time, and you defeat the boss, then you cry.
Yeah.
So I think that is more of the hate that you're seeing going towards those teams that they've done it before, so you expect them to do it again. So like this shit don't impress me. Yeah, you beat whoever you beat, Golden State Warriors. Yeah, big deal. Wait till you get to the conference finals. What are you gonna do then?
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Very, very well said.
Kirk's favorite podcaster, Jacoby, says success is a function of expectation.
Ooh.
And that's
Ooh.
and that's exactly what Kirk's described. But you know what's interesting about this, as we were talking, right? And I was just thinking from my perspective, right? I see, and whether you want to call Brooklyn, right, a big market team or not, because they're currently in a big market, but traditionally it's never been so, right? When they were in New Jersey, okay?
Yeah, they're the Clippers of New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? But because of the way they came about, and because I have a distaste for maybe more Kyrie and potentially Ben, yeah. If I log on in the morning, right, and I see the Nets win, I'm probably not watching that game. But if I see the Nets lose, I'm more inclined to open it up and see what happened. My inner hater just comes out. I can't stop myself.
It does hit a bit different though. It does hit different. You see a team that you don't like lose, you're like, let me just see how they lost.
Look at this.
Yeah, let me watch this fourth quarter.
Away. Interesting takes and very, very well said, Kirk. I know I didn't think of the big city thing, and the love that the big teams get makes a lot of sense, which is also why teams like the Lakers, even when they do bad, they are always in the news. But your analogy of a game is a great, great example. It's a very great, because it's exactly that. So Boston, even with your coach issues and with your other nonsense, people are still expecting you to win, actually.
Yeah.
It's tough. That's why the second title is so hard. That's why it's so hard. Because when you've made it now it's only one thing and one thing only. Nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure that you realize that Boston hasn't won anything.
I'm agreeing with Kirk. He was saying what teams like Miami, teams like Phoenix, last level, but their manatees right out. Their manatees. No more tokens. Yeah. In other news, I like the Bulls, guys. I like the Bulls.
Really?
I like the Bulls. Yeah,
Oh.
I like the Bulls. They play lekker. They play exciting basketball. DeRozan is still doing DeRozan things to me, like I told you, because he's getting finer with wine, with his age. You feel me? Watch out. Watch out. Don't sleep on my
what's the
superstar
record?
Caruso.
What's the record? The white LeBron?
2-2. 2-2. Yeah. But I really like what
You got very excited for 500 team. That was amazing.
The record doesn't speak the whole truth.
Look,
the
they're
Rosen
the
looks
same as
fine.
Golden State.
The
They're the
Rosen
same
looks
as Golden
fine.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, which teams you guys watching?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You mentioned Miami, right? How worried is everybody about Miami? Because as much as you said, the Lakers got a terrible start because they're 0-3, right? At least like their star players still don't look bad. Their star players look good. Yeah, LeBron looks great. Davis looks great in stages, right? Miami, everybody's too scared to say that they weren't going to do well. And people say, they'll probably make a top 4 slot, and they'll always come with other people, right? And Butler looks fine. Bam looks fine. Kyle Lowry. Debra might look done. He looks older than CP3. Look, in fairness to him, he's about the same age, right? Like he's one of the top 5 oldest players in the league, right? But he looks like it at this point in time. And what does that mean for Miami if he's not productive?
Bad things. Bad things. Katie?
Thank you, Wesley.
It's the subtleness.
How did you know when to speak? How did you know?
Is it their defense? Do they? Because they are traditionally a solid defensive team, but it seems like teams are scoring on them easily. So I mean, if you look at their start, they consistently around the 105, 110 mark, which is okay. If you obviously keep the other team to below that.
It's a complex sport.
1 + 1.
Yes.
But yeah, just to me, it seems like they allowing a lot of points against them, which they traditionally don't do.
So it's just something you picked up on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've got Bam Adebayo in my fantasy team.
Yeah. To me, I think you heard Kirk when you said Bam is fine.
I think Kirk. I don't think Kirk's getting super excited. I think he agrees. I think Bam is fine. He hopes that Bam would be better. There's definitely room for Bam to be better. And the reality is, they're going to want to win. He actually has to be better.
He has to be better.
Yeah. But that's the thing about the
otherwise
number 2 player.
Nurkic going to do the same thing to him.
Maybe. On a layup.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try and block your shot. You're going to miss.
Ole.
He wasn't even subtle, man. He turned completely.
Like, I'm gonna get the rebound.
So low. Guys, I even pressed pause, my bro. Like, whoa! This nigga just did that. Anyway. To me, any other teams you following? You mentioned Miami.
You mean other than the Mavs?
Yeah, other than the Mavs.
And the Lakers. The Mavs and the Lakers. That's the only 2 teams Timmy watches at the moment. Oh, and Memphis. Because
no, the Phillies.
Ja is mooring, bruh. I didn't think Jack could go higher than he went last. Yo,
And he's shooting, man. He's shooting.
sure. He pulled a move off where he drove the lane and he held the ball for so long and he cocked it back and you thought he was going to pass, but then he changed his mind and he laid it in. And I was like, how fucking long did this guy hang in the air? And how much body control and state of mind to process all of those things while you're in the air and then still, oh fuck, let me lay it up. Yes, that bra.
That's crazy. Desmond Bain is playing better than I thought also. I thought you'd have but that guy is playing, he's fire, right? But forget the Grizzlies because they've already won a lot, right? The Pelicans are real. Real. They then beat the Mavs without Ingram and Zion. Like that's
Zion, yeah.
That's real.
Phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
And it looks like they have fun. I like good vibes. And it looks like there's only good vibes. And I actually think that's got a lot to do with CJ McCollum.
Yes.
So Pelicans went old school on Mavs. They went for, we're gonna let Luka score his 50, but the rest are gonna score 4 goals. Yeah, and they just showed up on everybody else and they turned Luka into a scorer and not a passer. But he still almost got a triple double.
But you make a good point. You know, the reality is that people, when they talk about, well, they don't like the style. It's isolation basketball, right? It's like the Nets, right? Kyrie scores, then KD scores, then Kyrie scores, and KD scores. The reality is that actually, right, the Mavs look like they have a lot of fun with Luka because they just have to half move, and Luka will get them the ball. So they're also getting lots of open shots all the time. Maybe they don't feel involved all the time, but they always know that there's an opportunity to score, right? You run to them, he'll find you. Yeah. If they double team, he'll find you. And it looks like he enjoys, it's like Jokic. Those guys enjoy passing the ball, right? As much. You can see they get a kick out of it. And so if you turn either of them into scorers, I think it is problematic because they can score, but I suppose that's not the best for the team when that happens just that way.
Yeah.
I suspect in the future, what you'll see at the end of the season, when that starts happening, is you'll start seeing lineups with Christian Wood, Luka, and Dinwiddie at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Because those guys, if you play them one-on-one, they'll beat their man. Right? And so then you are going to start having to help out. And then you can get some movement in there and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Woods looks dangerous, my bro. For a bra that's that tall to shoot so many threes, he's really scary to me. That bra's going to be an all-star. That bra is going to be an all-star. I really think so. I think Woods is fine.
If only I had him on my fantasy team.
Yeah. If only I had Luka on your fantasy team as well.
Yeah. I'm still angry with Gods. Gods, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
He's deep in. He listens to a lot of content to get that fuck you.
But how can Woods have a better 3-point percentage than a free throw percentage, man?
That kills me. Yeah.
But there's some liquor teams, man. There's some liquor teams. I really enjoyed watching the Clippers. But the Clippers remind me of a old school CPUT team that's just super confident, loads of swagger. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them, really. I just know that they look liquor. And they're liquor to watch. Away. To me.
Also, they sound amazing, but they're also only just 2-2.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about the way they look, man. You know, when you watch a game, you can get a feel of the team. You can just... Anyway, maybe if you watch enough of whatever sport, you can get a feeling of it.
That's true. What you can't do is, if you don't watch every game, you realize that they're really load shedding Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Right?
Yeah.
So they're really not playing games, right? Which is either really great long-term planning or fuck, they're not playing games.
although not Luka, Kawhi, he had pain in his knee that he had off on, so they kept him out this week, which is worrying,
Yeah.
especially if you have him in your fantasy team.
Who has him?
Which is
which is why I'm 7 on the line.
okay.
But that Clippers team doesn't instill confidence in me. I mean, I had high hopes for them. They sound on paper, they appear better than they currently are. They rate Tai Lu as one of the better in-game decision makers and one of the coaches that makes adjustments on the fly very well. But they just look they look like they're still trying to figure each other out. That's really what it looks like. People are trying to figure out their roles. Is it Terrence Mann? The man dude who had a monster year last year when their roster was thin. He's nothing now. He looks lost on the court. He looks like Westbrook.
Ow.
Thing is coming off an injury. Reggie, he's coming off an injury. Powell looks lost. He's trying to force a lot. He's
very odd.
He does strange things. So there's no cohesion in that team at the moment. It's a lot of individuals trying to find their place, and which is surprising. I thought they would come into the season a bit more prepared.
Any of you guys catch any of the Cavs games with Donovan Mitchell?
I haven't yet, actually.
No.
Yeah, man. I was actually hoping one of you to have watched.
I'll wait for him to get higher up the table, and I'll start taking note of him.
What's their record at the moment, Timmy?
They 2-1. They 2-1.
Okay.
Actually, where have they played?
Have
they played anybody? They've played Raps, Bulls, Wizards.
Those are not three bad teams.
Yeah.
They beat the Wizards and the Bulls and lost the Raptors.
Okay.
Then that's not.
I'll give them a few weeks before I tap in.
In the meantime, we'll keep watching the Suns and Golden State. Do you see your boy give him the shut up, man? Klay Thompson basically told Booker, listen, did you watch the game, Kirk?
I watched some of it. Yeah.
My bro, David
it's like
Booker
when you look at the score and you're like, yeah, that was nice, lost.
Yeah. David Booker actually like irritated me a little bit, but so did Klay Thompson in that whole altercation. They both like seriously good individuals. I guess maybe Booker's maybe in more form than Klay, but Klay has every right to hold his own, on a one-on-one game. But it was just so funny to me how they're trying to prove to each other, CJ. And then at the end, he had to pull out the trump card with the shut up. I got 4. You 0, me 4. And then he got a tick. when he pulls out this card, then you know I've had enough now of this light. Enough of this light.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Hold me. But it was a fun game.
On Golden State, so last year when I watched Golden State early, you could see there was a good balance and there was a good vibe about the team. This year, I'm not getting that same vibe. It feels like the fact that they paid Poole and Wiggins. Poole, he's trying to stake his claim on a spot in the inner circle, it looks like. Then because they got paid, it looks like everybody else is trying to how do you say, make their name on the team as well. So there's a lot of individuality. There's a lot of hanging onto the ball. There's not that smooth flowing Golden State offense that you enjoy watching. It's the ball is sticky. The ball sticks. Dribble, pass, and it's not Golden State basketball at the moment. So and the year prior to last year, they started the same way and they bombed terribly. So I'm a bit worried about them going the distance. I think I call them to make conference finals. If they continue in this mode of play, they won't make it past the second round of the playoffs. But I mean, they're a championship team. I'm sure they're pacing themselves. They'll figure it out. You could see the game against Denver. They were down going into the fourth, and if they wanted to win that game, they'd have brought Steph and the starters in earlier. But they let the bench ride that game out. They let the bench try to figure it out in the fourth. You could see Steve Kerr is experimenting with different things. They're not chasing wins at the moment. So if they get a win, it's all good. But they're trying to figure things out. So I don't know if the individuality is part of that process. I doubt it because that's just cack. But we'll see. We'll see. It's not an enjoyable Golden State to watch at the moment.
Yeah. Timmy, in closing, give us your thoughts on Dallas. Just your closing thoughts. I know we did kind of wrap it up, but I mean, few games in now. Are you feeling more positive?
Yeah.
Still feel the same?
Nah, I feel positive. I feel positive for two reasons. One, well, actually for three reasons. Timmy Hardaway, people like he's playing very similar to what he did 2 years ago before he got injured, right? That's useful. Spencer Dinwiddie, everybody was like, well, Dallas got worse because Brunson left and Brunson was good. But actually, Dinwiddie is doing a better role in the Brunson role than Brunson was, right? And Wood, don't disrespect the fact that he's coming off the bench, right? And that's not an easy thing to do if you think of yourself as a star player. And it looks like he completely embraced that. Whatever, there seems to be a level of trust that's developed. They need to figure some shit out, but I'm very positive. And as a fan, I'm looking forward to watch them do it because they look like they're having fun doing it, which makes it easy to watch. So they're gonna lose some games and it's gonna disappoint me, but ultimately it's cool. Which feels, just by the way, very different. One team I want us to mention here, right, is Denver. I was super high on Denver, right? And unlike the Clippers, where there are a bunch of new influential players that all need to find their space again, right? I wouldn't have expected it. I wouldn't have expected that of the Nuggets, with Murray coming back and Porter coming back, and Barton leaving. But actually, it looks exactly like that, right? And Jokic had a weirdly bad game the other night. We had a stat line of 999, right? And that's great for many people, but that's super odd for him, right? When he played like a bunch of like a G League team, right, into the playoffs, right? And it's odd. I don't know what's going on there, right? Because they were a very fun team. Now they're also just, sometimes when you struggle through it, right, it looks fun and you know it's going to be okay. Sometimes you see them struggle through it and it doesn't give you that same sense of everything's going to be okay.
Katie?
I find, like, initially also when I watched the first game, I was like, yo, this Denver team looks bad. But when I watched another one of the later games where they were playing a lot better, and it seems like Bruce Brown and KCP have really fit well into this team. Yes, they play quite. There's Bones, that Bones Island as well. Those guys are fulfilling their roles very well, and they playing off Jokic very, very well. And people that we expected to do well aren't doing well, and I think that's kind of what's a bit off-putting.
Yes.
But if you get over that, and you look at the way the new pieces are fitting in, it actually looks quite
fine.
good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Then at the end of the season, I won't look like an idiot. I hope you are right. Then I'll be right.
It also buys the other guys time to find the groove and if these guys keep you going through this grind, I guess. Yeah.
It's exactly why Kendrick Nunn is getting such a lot of media attention to me, because the Lakers are trying to buy them time while they figure it out.
That nigga's getting none of that from me.
Gentlemen, have a lovely evening. Let's go Bulls. Let's go Lakers.
The Los Angeles Bulls.
You are a tortured soul, sir. A tortured soul.
Hey, man. It's about that big market, boy. Peace out, fellas. Enjoy the game.
All I'm gonna say is DeJounte Murray is mooring it in Atlanta. Enjoy that. Enjoy those games this week, because I am.
Okay. I'll follow and watch some ATL games too, and some Dallas games just for you, Toby. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
You guys, bye.